you want to create a Gmail account and connect your email, your EXP email, to your Gmail account. Reason being, you don't always want to have to go, and I think you got to go EXP World and the EXP Enterprise, and then probably go into your email from there. You want to just be able to link it straight to your Gmail. That way you can get all your emails to your phone. If you're going to be using your Gmail, your business email address for correspondence with clients, correspondence back and forth with attorneys, the lenders, etc., you're going to want to have that information coming right to your phone, because when you're out at work, at showings, etc., and you need to have an answer or respond to something, you don't want to have to always log in. You want to get that notification and keep that ball rolling. A lot of what we do, so people will be like, man, you got the house under contract, now you done. Well, I mean, it's kind of true, but it's not, right? A lot of work is passed into the attorney and then to the lender. But we as realtors, we keep the ball rolling, right? And if you got a good team, if you got good lenders, you got good attorneys, you don't really have to do much, but sometimes they get busy too. And you need to just keep that ball rolling and check in with people and say, hey, where are we at on this? Where are we at on that? Check on the other side, on the listing side, see what's going on with the seller. You're looking for timely responses. You don't want to let things lapse too long. You want to keep that ball rolling, because if things start to lapse and you're not really paying attention to it or not pressing for it, or sometimes you can find like an easy solution for something, your deal you could wind up seeing it stretch out another 2 weeks or 30 days, another extra 30 days, right? And then of course, the longer you go, then it's the risk of it potentially not closing, sellers getting tired of waiting, etc., right? Usually it's on the seller side, not on the buyer side. Usually the seller is ones that get tired of waiting or something. It's not really the buyer. Okay, so definitely link your Gmail to your EXP email. Okay, and was that a part of? I think that was a part of like getting started, right, Jalen? You
Yeah,
muted.
it was.
Yeah, it was. It was, right. So going back to that. Don't skip over anything. I'm telling y'all, like read everything and don't skip over anything. Why do I know people do this? Because I got a history of training. I used to literally train people like in quality control. I was a quality control manager over 3 shifts. I would train a quality auditor, in a department, and I'll train them and I'll say, okay, this is what you do, and then they'll have a sheet of what the quality inspection that we need to do, and they would say, well, what are we doing here? Like, what are we going to do on this check? And I said, well, just read it. And then they'll say, well, I mean, I see a bunch of stuff, but I still don't know. And I said, well, are you reading it? They said, yeah, I'm reading it. So I said, are you sure? They said, yeah. I said, and then I'll point right to the top of the page, and it'll say, machine number 3 inspection. And I was like, you see that right there? And they're like, oh, I didn't read it. Because we tend, like, that's our nature. We tend to want to skim everything. We tend to want to skim. We tend to want to just like kind of go straight into it, not read the instructions, all of that. Don't skim. You'll be cutting yourself short. Okay. All right. So Sharma Lee has a house here that is in Point St. Lucia, Florida. Okay. And was this your neighbor's house, Sharma Lee, or this is just a house you pulled up?
It's just the house I pulled up.
Just the house you pulled up. Okay. So one reason that it's going to be hard to do the comps on this house is because we don't have pictures of the inside of the house. We don't know what it looks like,
I know what
right?
it looks like.
Okay, so you know what it looks like. What describe to us what you would say this house looks like on the inside?
Updated kitchen,
Okay,
updated bathrooms, new floors. There's an added patio on the back that was not there initially when the home was built. Um, the home is newly painted. A lot of renovation took place,
okay,
and it looks very good on the inside as opposed to most of the homes that were built during that year. I believe the kitchen was upgraded about 3 years ago.
okay. All right, sounds good. We're
The
assuming that
bathrooms and
we're
stuff.
assuming that the roof is in decent condition, right?
Hmm.
Um, okay. Says it does not have a pool. So okay, so this is and it's gonna look different. It's gonna look a little bit different for the everybody's MLS. But at the end of the day, you just want to know the facts, right?
Hmm.
Like no matter how the layout looks, but this is basically what the house looks like. Um, 3 beds, 2 baths, total of 2 baths. They are full baths. Um, Living area is 1758, 1,758 square feet. It's on 10,000 square feet of land. There is a garage. There is a 1-car garage. There is no pool. It was built
Two
in
car
2000.
garage, one space, two cars.
It
I don't know
says
what.
one. It says one right there.
There's two cars though.
Garage, yes. And it says garage space is one.
I think it's rather
Let's see.
probably talking about maybe like the
The
garage
house.
door, but it is two
Oh
cars.
yeah. I wonder why they only put one. Did they steal some space out of this garage? I've seen some
How
weird
the house
stuff.
was built.
I've seen some weird stuff like they started building into the garage and they took garage space. So even though you roll up the door, it looks like a 2-car garage. You roll up the door, there's a wall right there, and they built inside the garage. I've seen
Oh,
weird stuff
yeah.
like that. So this right here, okay, that's good to know because if I'm just looking at comps and you saying, hey, it's a 2-car garage, and this is saying that it's a 1-car, especially if this house is on the market and it's coming up as a 1-car garage, like if it was on the MLS, that's an issue for one. When running comps and trying to compare apples to apples, that's another
Mhm.
issue. If this was on MLS and it's saying 1-car, of course, that's definitely an issue. Okay,
Mhm.
but 2-car garage, um, and then shingle roof, heating, forced air unit, right? So forced air, everybody knows that forced air is a furnace versus radiated heat like baseboard heat, right? That baseboard heat that could either be electric or it could either be from a boiler where you have water running through the pipes, kind of like a radiator, but they're just baseboards, right? If I say anything that anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, and I know I'm getting very elementary on this, but I just don't know what everyone knows. So if I say something, you're like, what do you mean baseboard heat? What do you mean boiler? What do you mean? Like we might as well kind of get into it. Okay. Slab. Slab means that the foundation is a slab. It is not a basement. It does not have a crawl space. Does everybody know what a crawl space is? If not, please let me know. This property is on a slab. Okay. Concrete block, exterior walls, number of stories, 1 story. Okay. I'm looking at all of this stuff because I need to know, right, what to compare it to. I need to know how to find the comparisons. So I want to start finding houses that are as close to this house, if not exact, as close as possible, right? All specs. And then by me or Charm knowing what the inside looks like, when I start looking at the comps that match up to this, physically, right? I want to look at those pictures too to see if they're just as updated or more updated or less updated. And then I'm going to start comparing my pricing. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. Let's see what the next one is. Interior details, just talking about square footage, some carpet, not a big deal right there. School district, this could be very important, right? Because sometimes you'll have homes that are in the same area, but maybe they got a different school district if they cross certain borderlines. So sometimes that might have that you got to be very careful with that. Like it doesn't happen all the time because you're doing a small radius. You might be doing a mile, radius, half a mile or a mile radius around the house. But sometimes that could happen depending on where the house lands. And you could get comps that are, different school district. If that school district has a higher rating, like a very high rating, and the one that you have that your house doesn't have a high rating, that could drastically affect purchase price for that house. And of course, if you cross city boundaries, appraisers don't want to take appraisers from the other city, or comps from the other city, because that's just a whole nother city, right? So just keep that in mind. Seller report, index, total score, engagement, walking, transportation stuff, not a big deal. I'm not paying attention to that. Property history, I'm not really paying attention to this. This is just kind of like, what the market is doing in the area. But you can see it's trending up. We know that the market is trending up anyway. So we can just kind of keep moving past that. Sales history, not really very important. Look, while we're on this topic, clients will, if you got a house that they want to buy, you got clients that will find this sales history online. And they look, Charm knows, she like rolling her eyes, right?
Listen, I didn't accept an offer because I heard someone talking crap on my doorbell camera. Okay. And they had a really good offer. I said, no, not you. Cause she go, she is she crazy? She bought this house for this amount of money and want to sell it for this? She trying to make some money. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And it's gonna sell.
Yeah. So and that's messed up, man. She just put a foot in her mouth, which brings me to another subject. Watch what you say in these houses. Because people got cameras, they got Alexas, they got doorbell cameras. Like if you're gonna start talking numbers or something like that in a house, or you talking negotiation strategy, tell your client when they start, let's go outside, let's talk outside, let's move away from the house and let's talk, about, because man, they got cameras and microphones everywhere now in houses. So your whole negotiation strategy could be out the window because you just gave it to the other side, right? If you know a house has cameras going into it, if you see it, if you say doorbell, or you see cameras, or it'll be sometimes on a listing, let your clients know, hey, this house has cameras. Let's watch what we say. If you're super excited about the house, you can show that you like it, but don't just give it. We go buy this house for whatever it takes. Get it, because you got clients that will say, "Get this house, Aziz. Get this one. Get it, man. Do your thing." Like you go get that, right? You got to let them know ahead of time, like, hey man, this ain't the one for you to go ham with. You might want to, keep it cool at this one. Okay. So yeah, clients. So your client will say that, well, we looked up this house and it looks like they're going to stand to make like 80K on this. We can negotiate this thing down, right? Like, sorry, bro. No, you can't. Like, regardless of what they bought it for, that's, that was what it was worth then. Now it's worth a whole new number. Regardless of how much they can make, they're not gonna sell the house cheaper when it's a supply and demand issue out here, an inventory issue, right? So, you just got to bring that back into perspective for them and let them know, like, man, it's not gonna happen. Let's put in a realistic offer if you want this house, right? So yeah, keep that in mind. Your buyers may try to bring that up as a reason to lowball a house. And you just got to put your foot down, like, no. Okay. they got the buyers and the current owners. Look, sales price D recorded 98,000, right? Jeez, right? That was back in 2009, right? And then this is something I also tell the potential buyers that are concerned about how much money the seller can make. I tell them, look, you don't know what their situation is, really, to be honest. It could be that they're going to make that much money. But what if they took a second line of credit, a home equity line of credit on a house, and they got another loan that they have to pay off when they sell this? Like, that's just that piece of what we see. They could be making that, but they could not be, right? So you really don't know the full picture because you went on Trulia, right? All right, so we're gonna get to this CMA at some point. All right, so this is the median 363, median listing price 330. So it's saying the median estimated home value is 336 and median listing price is 330. You got probably some high. See, keep in mind when the MLS CMA system does this, they're taking high and low numbers. It's just all around. So you just can't even like, okay, that looks like that's the area, list your house for that. No, you can't do that because they're just taking an average of all of. So you might have some 500Ks and you might have some 200Ks in there, right? Sales report, listing versus sales. You want to get, this is really good. All of this stuff right here, I'm not really concerned about as far as me figuring out what the value of the home is. But knowing all of this, when you go to a listing presentation, and you'll be able to point out the different numbers and what the market is doing and all of that. Honestly, it may not even bring value for your particular house situation, but the longer you talk to people and the more you educate them, the more value they receive, the happier they are, the more knowledgeable and educated you are, and they feel more comfortable doing a deal with you, right? So they like that, they want an expert in the business, and you showing them that you can kind of go through these things and explain it to them and make it make sense for them. See, that's the main thing, is when you truly know something, you can explain it to others, right? If you can't explain, you really want to be practicing, even like researching and learning how to do this stuff and studying it to be able to explain it to someone else. Because if you can't explain it, you don't truly know it. Whether you're going to be explaining to a client or whether you're just doing it for yourself, you want to be able to explain it in a simplistic version, right? That's another thing. While we kind of on the explaining in the simplistic version of things, when your lender is talking to you, like, I don't allow lenders to talk to me in lender lingo. I don't allow attorneys to talk to me in attorney lingo. Like, don't give me I don't want to know how intelligent you are. I want it to make sense so I understand it, so I can explain it back to my client if I need to, right? Don't ever be afraid of saying, I don't know what you talking about. Because I do it all the time. I would, especially in the beginning, when I was first in this business, I would tell them, I don't know. Look, man, I don't know what the heck you talking about, bro. Break this down to me like I don't know nothing. And I started learning a lot from the lenders, a lot from the attorneys. But a lot of times people don't even take the time to learn that stuff. They say, oh, that's your part. You do that, whatever you say. Like, no, you want to become an expert in your business. You want to learn from your inspectors, right? When they're doing inspection, what they're looking for, about how much does this cost? Why? Because for one, then you'll get an idea, a sense of what it costs when you're taking a client into a house, because they're going to ask you, what do you think this will cost? I'm not a contractor. I can't quote you on that, but thinking it may be roughly this amount. You can get a contractor out and verify it, right? But you start having some type of idea by having those conversations. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do when I have a comp, a subject property, right? And that's so your subject property is the property that we're planning on selling, or property that your buyer is, potentially putting an offer in on. You want to run comps anytime before you put an offer in on it. Even if you think you are very confident of what the house is worth, do not take the shortcuts. I'm telling y'all, don't take shortcuts. Run the comps. Don't be so confident. Oh, I know this area. No, run the comps. Don't be lazy. Run the comps. Okay. So when we run the comps, all right. So let's say this house is listed for 386,467. Okay. The first thing that I want to do if I'm running comps, I want to look at the number of beds, number of baths, square footage. Year built, yes. Yes and no, somewhere close, but immediately I would look. So this is comp select. Okay. So immediately I would look and I would say 4 beds, 4 beds, 4 beds. This is 3 beds. Okay. 2 baths, 2 baths, 2 baths, 2 baths, 2 baths. Okay. These right here, I would try to, if I can't find anything else, I would use these, but I'm trying to find more of these, number 4. Trying to find more of the 3-bed, 2 baths. Square footage, 1758. Square footage over here, 1787. Year built, 2004. Year built, 2003. Even the lot size is comparable to 0.29 acres, right? 10,000 square feet. Okay. So I'm looking here. This one is listed at 500. You got some here that are lower price. This one stayed on the market 70 days, right? I want to see what the difference is between these 2 homes, because this one here is 500,000, and it's a 3-bed. What was special about this house, right? I want to see the pictures of what that house looks like. Was it in a certain area, right? 4.48 miles. It's not far from each other. It's got a description. 1-story, vaulted ceilings, floors, granite countertops, shutters, large patio with heated pool. Has a pool. Okay. A perfect view, desirable gated community. Has a low HOA on site, RV storage, only $200 a year. Okay. So that might be gated community, right? Because see, now it's pulling. That's something else you got to watch for. Like, let's say if this first house wasn't in a gated community, but this one is so close, but it is in a gated community, but all the homes in that gated community are higher priced than the ones that are outside. That could be a difference, right? Just looking at some of the other stuff. Thermostat, garage, game. I don't see a pool on that one. I know from before when we first looked at our listing, we didn't have a pool. This is 4 beds. That's 3-car garage. Okay, let's see what else we got. Seller's report. Okay. Oh no, that's just the title. All right. So these comps here, 3 beds, 2 baths, 3 beds, 2.5 baths. You see right here, it's got that partial. See that? Got that partial. So this has 3.5. Square footage is smaller, right? 360, 369, 360. It's a little bit less than square footage. Not much. The years are about the same price. Let's see. Single family detached. Of course, they're all single. Yep, single levels. Okay. New water heater, city, da-da-da-da-da. Moving and ready, beautiful upgraded cabinets, backsplash, masters, sink, shower, sand, tile, floor, screen. So I will really be looking at pictures, but I'm going off the descriptions. So I'm going to say this is more likely around a price range. This one lasted for 37 days. This one was on market for 132 days. Right, but I would like to see the pictures. That would have been great. But You can see they sold for right around the price. But then again, what you can do is, okay, well, why did this one last for 132 days? You can go to your MLS and you can see the property history for it being listed, right? There's a section, usually it's like under additional information, where you can see like if the property had went contingent before, fell out of contract due to whatever reason, went back on the market, right? So this doesn't mean that it was just on the market and it just sat. It could mean that it got a contract, went back, canceled, went back on, and then it had to do that. Sometimes financing is a reason why a contract or a house can go back on the market. Inspection reasons. So a good point here. If you see a house was on the market for 2 weeks, it got under contract and then it was under contract for about a week or 2 weeks, and it went back to market, it's a good chance that it went back to market due to inspection, because your inspection usually happens in the first week, right? If you see a house, it was under contract for 30 days and then it went back on the market, that was probably due to financing. The buyer couldn't get financed and they end up having to put it back on market, right? But it's always kind of a red flag to me when I see that a house was under contract for a week and then boom, it went back on the market. It probably was due to inspection, right? So let's see what else we got here. So this is just the exterior of the houses, and then the breakdowns. Looks like the breakdowns of the houses, right? So, but seeing pictures, so is this the same one? 3717 was that one was up here, right? 3717. Okay, that was the 3717 right here. Yeah. Now this one sold 4 bids, 2 baths. It sold pretty cheap. 56 days. And this one, even this one here too. Oh no, that's 390. That's 390. Okay, what was the other one? It was 379. Okay, that's 4 bids, 2 baths. Okay, so I can see that. But this one right here, that one, 3717. Ceramic tile, living room countertops, stainless steel appliances, sinks, walk-in, no HOA.
I'm thinking they probably didn't have an appetite, a good listing price, and they just.
Well, you know what? I don't know. It had to be like maybe something with maybe the condition or something. I'm thinking because
That house is basically a brand new house. It was built in 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Most
Yeah,
of
that
the
was.
homes here in Port St. Lucie are basically brand new because it's a very developing city. So some of the houses are old, and that's why it was kind of hard to find, good comparables. But I mean, there
Well,
was no house
you got
here.
some right here.
Yeah, but there was no house here, really built in like the 1900s or anything like that. Most of the houses are like, spanking new.
But
Outside
your
of
house is
2005 and stuff.
2004.
Yeah, that house is 2004. But outside of that, like majority, I would say maybe like 70% of the homes are 2016 and newer.
Okay. Somebody, if that's the case, somebody got a good deal.
They
Because
got a good deal.
this house, and this was 2021, end of 2021, and this it stayed on market for 56 days. So I'm like, it's just like weird that in 2017, and if it was like in good condition, 4 bids, 2 baths, maybe it was an auction home. Maybe so somebody got a good deal, but that house brought comps down, basically. But they still got some supporting comps to still keep it up. But that house, people are probably like, freak, why did they sell that for 355? Like, so if I'm looking at these comps here, and then we had another one, that one sold for a lot, like $499. When was that one? Oh, that's okay. That one was this year, 2022 in January. Okay. So, and then these were, man, that was 2022 as well. 16, 17. It's a little bit more square footage over here. That's more along what we have, the 17. But then you got the, let's see, 2004 versus that was 2003. So you're looking at 500K. That one did have, was that the gated community? Let me see. Or
500, yeah.
that was okay. Okay, yeah, bro, I forgot with the heated pool. Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm still here. I'm still. So you see, like how I'm going back and forth. Like I can't just look at it, even though I do them a lot. I just can't look at it and say, "Oh, boom, that's the price, done." Like I still have to kind of like go back and analyze it just a little bit to be just to get my thoughts straight. Now somebody else could probably do it better than me, quicker than me, right? But you know, this is my process. So I'm going to be looking at more along the lines of this 369, right? 370, right? 370, 375, 380 if you want to test the market, right? But this is where I'm going to be. As long as you know they're comparable in their looks and things like that. And it's just the inside of the house. So yeah, any questions? Any questions on anything there? No, does everybody kind of get a feel of how it works?
So you always only get like 3 comps, or like what's the?
You want to get as many as you can, right? You know, but yeah, 3 is going to be great. But you want to get as many as you can within the last 6 months. Sometimes you might have to go out a year. You really don't want to go out in distance, but sometimes you have to, man. I've had houses that I've sold where it was just no comps. It was like not even one comp. And literally we had to look at comps from surrounding cities. We had to look at the total overall of what the kind of the community and neighborhood and city was doing and try to come up with some type of balance of a number. But an appraiser is going to have just a harder time with you on with the appraisal as you would, you know.
So
Yeah,
are
and you want to
you?
stay in the same cities for sure.
To help my appraiser when I sold my house in Charlotte because there weren't too many homes selling, and of course they were looking at the 6-month report. And I was like, but my neighbor sold this house last year for whatever amount, and he was like, "But I don't see it." I was like, "Well, you gotta go back a little more." He's like, "Oh, it's outside of the 6 months." So they had to work together to really,
Yeah, yeah,
come up with
it's
why it made sense, which they were able to do. But the fact that there weren't too many homes selling within that area, it made it really, really hard to,
yeah,
make it make sense.
yeah. It is. It is really hard. You're gonna come across those situations, and at that point, you know, maybe you that's when you reach out to somebody. And I mean, look, you all can always reach out to me, and you know, once mentors are in place for you, Jalen and Sean, you have your mentors to reach out to, but you can always reach out to me as well because some of them will be difficult. Some of them will be, and I may even reach out to someone and just say, hey, what's your thoughts on this? Really, is your thoughts really come into play when you really like get some other people and some other opinions involved on listings, especially, right? You got a listing because you don't want to price the listing wrong, too high, too low. Um, you know, and because listings are, you know, this is important. When you got a good listing, you want to do right and get it right and sell a house for the client. Yeah.
So the when you doing the CMA, like how are you differentiating between like how much a bathroom is, how much a extra bedroom is, or are
Yeah.
you
So
just how you come up with that final price or offer?
yeah, I mean, that's another thing that's really good. So there's a calculation for it, and I'll be honest, I learned it in school, and I don't know it right now. So
I
I
was
mean,
gonna go get my
Yeah,
book. I
that's what I was
remember
gonna
learning
say.
it in school.
Yeah, they
Like
tell
yeah,
you in school, and I think each state has a different number for, because some states is higher and blah, blah, blah. Because I
Yeah,
think a
yeah,
bathroom is like, that's like nothing. That's like what, 500, something like that. And like the bedrooms go up to like 1,000 or whatever. And if you got a pool, it's like so many grand.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know
but each
what I
state is different with the
you
numbers.
know what I do though, and how I would base that is what does it cost to install one? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I look at it. Like, so if for instance, like if a house was on a slab and another house had a full basement,
Mhm.
like you can't price those $5,000 difference, right? Unless you just got
Right.
that demand in that market. But what would it take someone to actually put in a basement? I mean, that's, man, you tearing up the you lifting the house, you tearing up the floor, like that's
Mhm.
invaluable
It
to
ain't
have a
fall.
basement, right? Like, so, or like if someone says, okay, well, what is a, like you say, what is a extra bathroom going to cost? 10K, right? 10, 15K, you know, a kitchen, that could be 20, 30K, right? Depending
Mhm.
on what type of upgrades you want. So that's kind of how I would base it. Now, you're not going to get so much of a swing when you talk about an updated kitchen versus a not updated kitchen, right? You're not going to get so much, but like bathrooms, 5, 10K, you know what I'm saying? Difference in price, and it usually pans out. Like this one had a 2.5 bath, this one did not, you know, but see this one right here actually had 2.5 baths. It sold for less than this one, right? But you have to see like, but see at the same time, it sold quicker too, 37 days. So sometimes like really, this house could have probably been priced higher. They probably could have got, you know, 375 for this house,
Mhm.
380, 377, something like that. But they wanted to sell it, right? And it went 37 days versus 132. But we don't know exactly what the inside looks like and all of that as well. But let's say if they're comparable, they wanted to sell this house quicker. They didn't want to sit and wait. They wanted to get it done,
Right.
right? So, you know, it just depends. It depends on, you know, sellers, area, supply and demand. But these houses are sitting for a little while over here too. What are taxes? What are the taxes? I don't think it had the taxes, but they're not flying off the shelf. So it's kind of good if the houses is in your area and they're not flying off the shelf, Sean. Um, you gotta you in a great market. If they're not flying off the shelf, that means you don't have you can pretty much pick and choose. And if you got a, you know, a high inventory, then you're great. But it seems like they're not flying real quick over there.
Most of the people here build.
Okay, so all new construction. So you got a large market for homes that are not brand new construction. Man, well, you always have something, you always got some inventory. So even if they decide they want to build, or they like, forget it, I'm sick of waiting on trying to get something that I can build, I just want to buy now. Man, you got a nice, you're in a nice spot right now in the market. If that's happening throughout your area, man, that's, you're in a good place. Yeah. I don't see taxes. What's the average amount of taxes around there?
Mm, around 6,000 a year.
That ain't bad for almost $400,000 house. Not too bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah. Might have to come do some business down there.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about moving to Florida or the bottom of Georgia. This is a nice house. I like this entryway right here. See. Okay, so now we got a zoomed up picture of that house for $499. This right here, the open space, the windows, the landscaping, the, you know, what was it called? An atrium, I guess. I don't know, like vaulted ceiling with the vaulted entry. That is appeal. That's appeal right there, right? Versus that. That is worth money right there. I couldn't see that when the picture was smaller. So you see what I'm saying, why pictures are so important? Even the interior pictures, you want to look at the pictures, not just at the numbers. That right there is worth money, and it looks like it's backed up to some water. Yeah, you see that in the back? So look, I know they had a pool. It's in a gated community. You got this great curb appeal, a lot of natural light coming in the house, the palm trees outside, and you got, looks like it's backed up to some water right there. That's your $499 right there. Yeah. So yeah, this was a good one. Actually, Sean, this was a good one to actually do comps on. So man, a lot of value. You picked a good one. Like, look, like compared to that one, the curb appeal, palm trees, and then you got this little tree. I'm straight just hanging on by the wind. I'll be a palm tree one day. All right. Yeah, that's about it. I'm actually, I got another Zoom I got to jump on, but y'all got any questions for me? Or did y'all get some value, good explanations here? No,
Yeah.
yes, no.
We're supposed to be talking, Aziz. I got 3 consultations set up.
Oh, yeah. You got the consultations. So we kind of talked about the consultations earlier, though. Right?
Yeah, and then you said that we can circle back to it.
Okay. Well, consultations, I'll do it real quick because they're waiting on me. It's 8:01. So
You
real
can
quick.
talk back. We can talk about it tomorrow. What?
Okay.
I don't remember what time I meet with them tomorrow, but we can talk about it
real quick. Does everyone, and Sharm, you know this already, right? But consultation, what's good to do? Build rapport in the beginning. Meet them, right? Talk to them about what their goals is, where they want to, are they currently employed? How long they been there, right? What does their situation look like? Are they coming with what type of down payment are they coming with? When do they want to move by? What's their sense of urgency? What areas do they want to move to? How many number of beds, baths, etc. Right? Really, in the beginning, that's really not your primary focus, but it is because you can set them up on an MLS search. Everybody should be set up on an MLS search so that you can start sending them more properties, right? That's going to be like you staying in front. That's going to be your marketing as well, right? But after you get all of that information, email address, etc., so you can set them up on a search and send them homes from your MLS. If you haven't set up a search on your MLS yet, practice on yourself. Set yourself up on a search on the MLS, okay? Like you're the home buyer, all right? Set them up on MLS, but at the end of that conversation, you need to be getting them over to your lender, right? Because now they need to get pre-approved. You don't want to just be taking people out and they're not pre-approved for homes. I had a thing where I would do one showing as a meet and greet at the most, but the majority of my people, my clients, I explain to them why they want to move forward with the pre-approval first, right? You need to know what you can afford. You need to know what you can afford with a certain amount of taxes, because taxes and purchase price all go together, okay? You need to know if you're going to be FHA or conventional. Jalen, you asked me about these financing questions. I sent you the 101 video because we talked about financing in that video. Did you watch that video? I think you said, yeah, you're muted. I think you said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it talked about FHA 3.5, conventional 5%, right? You got all of that? Okay, so, and while you're watching the videos, take notes, write it down, or replay it, right? But then you want to get them over to your lender. Once you get them over to your lender, at that point, you wait. Have them turn in their documents, have them make sure they pull their credit, get the documents in, let the lender tell you if they can buy or not. Because if they can't buy and you're just taking them out on homes, it's nice to say, hey, well, at least I'm getting practice, which is true. But at the end of the day, you're in this to make money. So you don't want to just be spinning your wheels, because the time that you're out and about showing people homes that can't buy, you could have been in your house prospecting at an open house prospecting, in the neighborhood door knocking, at a home buyer seminar teaching people about, buying homes, at a networking event to connect with more people. Like, you could have been doing self-development. You could have been doing so much more than, just out with clients that can't buy. Okay. So that's what I would say, Charm. Build a rapport, see what they're looking for, set them up on an MLS search, explain the importance of why they need to get pre-approved, because other than that, you are window shopping. They will tell you, but we have the money. It's not all about the money.
Can I
Well,
ask them for their proof of funds?
No, you don't have to ask them for that, because the lender will.
Because one of my clients that I set up for tomorrow, I set up someone else. They said that they're buying the house cash.
Oh, well, then they can provide you with proof of funds in the form of a bank statement, or they can have their bank type out a letter with the bank's letterhead saying that they have a certain amount of money in the bank. So yes,
Okay.
proof of funds, because you're going to need that proof of funds in order to even submit a contract.
Okay.
Right. So let me back up. Can you submit the contract without the proof of funds? Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
Right? Will it get accepted?
Hell
Odds is L to the no. They're like,
Ain't
what is
nobody got time for that.
They're like, Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Where the money at? Right? So and I had someone that had a client like that. They refused to show the proof of funds, but they wanted to submit. And so this was, and one of the agents said, I told them that I wouldn't submit it, that you can't do that. No. I said, well, you can't tell them that, because you're telling them they can't submit it. At the end of the day, your code of ethics say that you have to have, you're there for the client. So you have to submit, right? But, you just let them know it's not going to fly, that you don't have, and they came right back and said, we need proof of funds. And after that, the deal is dead. And then you just have to choose not to work with that person again after that. But if you're representing that buyer, you have to say, yeah, you know what, I'll submit this for you. It's not gonna work. Or you cut ties with that buyer, because you say, you know what, this is just not how I choose to operate. Because at the end of the day, you are an independent contractor, and you can choose to hire or fire a client if you want to. Okay.
I have
All right.
one last question before you go, Aziz. Can you schedule a showing for coming soon?
If the listing agent allows it, right? Now you do have the private network. So private network on your MLS will be homes that are not on the live MLS yet. They won't be on Trulia, they won't be on Zillow, but if they are in a private, if they set them up on a private network, because everybody doesn't want to advertise that they're selling their home to all of the public, whatever reason, I don't know. But if it's in a private network and the listing agent says, yes, we are doing showings, yes, you can. If the listing agent says no, then you can't. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So any other questions? Make sure you drop them in the group, drop them in the chat. I'm eventually gonna be doing a training on social media because I think that's going to be important for everyone. And but if there's anything that you all want to train on, let me know. I don't know everything. I'll train on what I do well. Anything that really gets like into niche areas, that's why we have EXP training in the calendar. Has anyone taken any courses from the interactive training on EXP yet? No. So a lot of the reason, and I want y'all to keep this in mind, when we first did the presentation, when I first showed you all the presentation, I harped and I've spent a lot of time on the training that we offer through EXP, right? Use it. That's
I need the recorded trainings.
VP University.
Because those live trainings sometimes conflicts with my schedule, and that's where that comes in. But if I can get them recorded, I can watch them at night, or sometime that works best for me, because I may not have been able to attend
EXP, I said VP University, but EXP University. You can find it through your workplace chat. Soon as you go to your workplace chat, click on that first link that's right there, that first picture that says EXP University, and then that'll take you to your recorded videos. Okay, so they do have the pre-recorded videos that you can pop in there, use the pre-recorded stuff, use the live stuff for when you have time to make those trainings. Because that is a lot of the reason why I'm sure everyone on this call, including myself, has come over to EXP, not just for the revenue share, not just for the stock, but also for the vast amount of training. I don't want you guys to get here and then not use it, right? So this is so important. So yeah, utilize the pre-recorded as well. Okay, thanks for.
Sophia, you use Calendly, right? Sorry, Aziz.
No problem.
I didn't mean to cut you. I hope she didn't fall asleep.
She might have. I'm gonna stop the recording. But so let's see if Sophia's still there, but I'll stop at this point.